Hi lovely rubies, thank you for joining me today. So I'm so excited to share my first ever podcast with you called Believe. It's been in the planning for a while, so I'm so excited to share the very first episode with you. So what is Believe? Basically, you'll join me, Hannah Ruby, and sometimes some special guests. So Believe is a regular uplifting show with a focus on positivity, self-belief, and creating actionable steps towards your dreams, sharing tips and advice from inspiring people and businesses on life, happiness and success. And I'm really excited to share this with you. I know for me, having a regular flow of positive content does absolute wonders for my mindset and my mental health, and therefore the things that I feel like I can achieve and therefore go on to do because I feel really inspired and good. So I hope to be able to create a really positive and uplifting space here for you with this podcast and my channel and everything, and just know that you can do amazing things, you can do anything you set your mind to, so believe in yourself. So with that, I'm so excited to introduce our very first guest on the Believe podcast. She's very inspirational and I feel very lucky to have her as my friend and mentor. She's always been super encouraging of me and to believe in myself and to go after my dreams. And so she's the perfect first guest for the show. Let me introduce Marina O'Shea. Hi Marina.
Hello.
Welcome to the Believe podcast. I'm so excited to have you as my first ever guest.
Oh my god. I'm very honoured to be asked. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I feel very lucky to have you as my friend. You've always been such a brilliant mentor and you've been so supportive and encouraging. So it's only fitting as well that you're on the first episode of the Believe podcast. I'm so excited to hear more about your story and your journey because we're having a little chat before, and there's so much you have to share. Marina is an absolute powerhouse. Like, she's brilliant. Like, she has so much going on. Everything she does is to such an incredibly high standard. And she's just, yeah, she's absolutely brilliant. Everyone that knows Marina will say they're very lucky to have her in her life.
Stop it! Carry on.
So, yeah, we've got some questions today. You have to excuse me if I'm a bit awkward because this is my first one, but hopefully that'll be fine. Okay, so I thought we could just start off if you could just tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you're working on. Lots of things.
That means I have to actually remember, doesn't it? Do you know, I have started calling myself a creative producer. Because I think it's sort of
very fitting.
Yeah, it wraps up everything I do. I'm the person who goes and has a mad idea and then makes it happen or makes other people help their ideas to happen or things like that. So yeah, I'm events manager for In Exeter, which is actually how we met.
It was.
Think about it, years and years ago.
Five Nights of Light.
5 Nights of Light. So I look after the Christmas switch on, which this year is Carnival. I'm working on bringing back Exeter's Carnival to the city. I'm very excited about that. Coming up on 26th of November.
Amazing.
And what else do I do? We also work with each other on a fantastic men's mental health project called All Right Mate. Which is, yeah, I champion every job I work in it because I'm really passionate about it, and because I can see it's delivering change, which All Right Mate is with the sessions and work it's trying to do in Devon. I also work as a producer for Scratchworks Theatre Company, who are an incredible 3 female-led ensemble who do really inspiring educational children's theatre, which I really love being part of. Is that it? I'm not sure. I might have left someone out. Please don't be offended if I have.
Yet to be.
Oh, yet to be. Oh my god. Thank you, Hannah. Yeah, I run my own theatre company called Yet to Be alongside Charlie, and we work very hard to try and make original, challenging work. We've just finished a tour of a show that I'll call Geneva, which deals with toxic masculinity, the Me Too movement, and things like that. And it's a joy to work on. So yeah, I'm also that. I forget that. Yeah, and I think that's it. Yeah,
We'll come back to it if not.
Well, if not, there's something else I remember. Oh, I'm an actor. I say that, and I've just finished a fantastic project. Highlighting domestic abuse, which a fantastic project to work on with Emma Lens Films. Yes, I think that's it. I think that's everything I do.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying to Marina before we started, because as she was saying, we work on All Right Mate together, and I was doing I've been doing all the socials, and I said, if you could send me some information about yourself and your headshot so I can do a post kind of introducing everyone to the people working on the project. And Marina sent me all the things you're doing. I was like, wow. Like, I knew, like, she's brilliant and all the things she's got going on, but I was like, wow, there's even more than I realised.
I forget sometimes, yeah. But yeah, I can't sit still, that's what my issue is.
So I thought a really good theme for today would be about prioritisation, because you are brilliant at this, because obviously you have so many things you're juggling and everything you do is to such an incredibly high standard.
Yeah.
So I thought that could be a good kind of topic for today. Yeah. Okay, so for me, I've realised recently, with kind of going self-employed and everything, which Marina's been a huge champion for. Actually, you were one of the people that encouraged me
pushing you into that scary world.
Go for it. Yeah. I really realised that mindset is absolutely key. It's the foundation of everything. Because if you're not feeling good, you're not going to want to go out in there and you know, you kind of got to address the internal stuff before the external things. So I just was wondering if that's true for you as well. If you find your mindset is key to things you do.
Oh, 100%. I call it choosing joy. It is a choice every day to decide how you're going to let that day go. Like, bad stuff happens to all of us. We all can just wake up on the wrong side of bed sometimes. But then you are going to impact your own day if you allow that to carry on. At some point during your day, you've got to find a way to change that up for yourself. Do whatever it is that you need to do. Go for a run, have a shower, make yourself laugh over something. So that that mindset can switch, because you're not going to get through the day otherwise. You make yourself unhappy. Easier said than done sometimes, and I get that, I respect that. But for me, 100% mindset. I've got to be clear from anything that's going on. And I think I separate things, which I think is a really healthy habit. I think I do it without thinking about it now. I'm trying to describe it. It sounds really weird, but I do separate parts of my day and who I am and when I've got a hat on.
Putting your different hats on.
It's exactly that. So, you know, we all have families, and, you know, that thing of getting up in the morning and perhaps the kids have fallen out, or, I don't know, Seb's left his toothbrush in the sink. And you've got to leave those frustrations at the door behind you. Yeah. And I compartmentalise parts of the day. From the minute I leave the house, I will then decide, am I making a phone call to a friend as I go into work that day, who I need to maybe check in with, and that then helps you slip out of whatever's been going on for you and think about someone else for a minute. Or I put my favourite playlist on, which you're on actually.
Oh my, thank you.
I put that on and I just check out. And I leave that at the house. That stays there, and I don't think about home until I'm back home. And then I arrive with whatever hat it is, whatever job that is, I'm there, present in that. And I think that's a really key one, because I think a lot of people I know and a lot of people I work with really struggle to do that switch off. And it is acting. It's performing, actually. Yeah. It's a bit like, you fake it till you make it, and once you start doing that for yourself, you start feeling better, and then it becomes a habit that you just naturally do. I think that's definitely the big one. I think. Do
you know what? Actually, that leads perfectly onto my next thing I was going to say, because you're saying about choosing joy and about going, right, I'm making a decision for myself. And one of the first things I started doing once I started listening to kind of self-development things and mindset was, a lot of them were talking about reframing negative thoughts. And that's not going, oh, everything's perfect and da da da. It's just going, actually, how can I choose to kind of reframe this, instead of going, oh, I'm so miserable and this is not happening. Going, okay, well, what's something good about today? Okay, maybe this situation isn't ideal, but it's getting me to this thing. It's actually looking back, something that at the time I absolutely hated, and, you know, or a job I didn't like, or, you know, whatever it might be, going, actually, so many good things came from that. I learned so many skills. I grew in confidence. And one thing that I found initially with the reframing negative thoughts, initially it felt really fake. And it was just like, okay, I'm going to choose to reframe this to this, and it took a while. But actually, now, like saying fake it till you make it, now it's actually second nature.
Yeah.
And even when I'm having a really bad day, it's actually quite natural for me to just reframe.
Yeah.
And I just think, oh gosh, I'm actually
choosing joy.
Choosing joy. And you just feel really proud because you think, actually, sometimes you think, oh, I've got no control in the situation. Actually, you have.
You do.
Because you can always choose how you
respond and how you react. 100% agree with that. I used to say it to, I worked in a drama school for 11 years and that was my top advice to them because it's intense hours, it's a really difficult course, was you've got to find joy with it. And like you said, I really like that you said, I'm trying to think of a polite way to say it, of it feeling fake or, you know, to do that.
Yeah.
You'd be real with it. Be like, well, I'm having a rubbish day. Yeah. This is really rubbish, you know, to that extent. So just check out, because it's the wider scheme of things. Many years ago, I worked as a nurse and would nurse people to their death. And I did that at such a young age. I think I was about 16 when I did that. Really made me wake up and go, life is just too short. And I know we hear that. But actually seeing that, seeing how people would spend or chose to spend their life as well, made me go, well, I'm not hanging around on this planet for very long, but I'm gonna have a good time whilst I'm here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I have to say, one of my biggest fears is getting to the end of my life and looking back and regret.
Yes.
Is that something?
100%. Yeah, I'm well known for that. Like, we were having a conversation just before. And I will have a mad idea about something which can be overly ambitious, but I won't drop it then until it's done. I find a way to do it. And it's because of that. It's because I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to be that person sat at the bar one day who goes, oh, I could have done this. Or when I get to that age where my sight goes or I'm in a care home, I want to sit there and just have nothing but the most amazing memories rather than regrets.
And I was saying to Marina before, this is something I really admire and respect about you, is you have an idea, and it honestly, like you said, it can be the biggest thing ever, and you go, right, that's it, this is what I'm doing, you set sail, and you just keep going until you achieve it, you know, and it's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
I think for my family it's probably a nightmare. They're like, oh, another crazy idea.
Don't worry, I think I drive my family mad too. They go, oh, right, this again, okay, yeah okay.
But you know they love you, really, and they're proud of it.
They do, yeah. I just involve them in all my ideas.
Yeah.
That's part of it, I'm afraid.
I did say to everyone around me, never a dull day.
No. You will be included in all my crazy ideas.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so my next question is about a key turning point in your life.
Yeah.
I know you brought along some amazing things that we were talking about a minute ago. Yeah. It's up to you, like, now you feel like might be a good time to incorporate that?
Yeah, we could do, I'm trying to think what's that one key turning point. And it's always hard to... I've had quite a few, basically. I've had quite a few turning points in my life. We'll start with this. So this was a book that I wrote when I was at university as part of my dissertation at the end, called State of Mind. It's actually my final performance on the cover, but yeah, it's all falling apart now. And I'm really glad that I kept this because it dictates the sort of journey of my time. When I finally decided, you know, I was going to come to university, that's what brought me to Exeter. And it was really difficult. It was really hard for me. And I keep it as a memory of how I got, what was the foundations of me getting where I am. And actually, because it kind of relates to what we've just been talking about, there's a nice quote in here, something I wrote. I think this was a real turning point, as we were just saying there. So I'll just quote a bit of it. As each day passed with its own set of problems for me to solve, it dawned on me that they were all problems that would never go away, that I would deal with for the rest of my life. But there would inevitably always be an answer or a solution, even if it wasn't immediately apparent. So why waste all my time worrying? This realisation allowed me to finally accomplish what I had come to Exeter to do, to learn, to be inspired and challenged, and ultimately gain experience in what I wanted to do. Yeah.
What a great, honestly, what a great section.
Yeah, I like that.
And the thing is as well, is I'm learning so much about Marina O'Shea already. Like, you're an author, you're a songwriter, like, is there anything you can't do, honestly?
Probably be serious for too long. That's probably the truth of it, yeah.
But that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was, I actually, so in preparation for coming along today, got this book out, read it back over. And I actually messaged my old comedy partner, Tess, bless her, who suffered me for 7 years on the road. And I said, God, I've just realised why, one thing I used to love doing when I performed with her, and it drove her up the wall, was every time we did a live performance, I would slightly change something. I even wrote one of our sketches, we were a comedy sketch duo, one of our sketches was completely improvised, and it would be me controlling her. It was a sketch called Actor Director, where I would go sit in the audience with the audience. She'd be on stage, and she had to say 2 sentences of a monologue, and I'd make her do it again and again, but with completely different ways to make her do it, and she never knew what was going to happen. I had a lot of fun with that.
That was so much fun.
Oh, I had a lot of fun doing that, but I think it drove us slightly crazy because I always wanted to just change up that live performance. She's like, can we not just stick to the script? And I realised there was, and perhaps won't be able to, I'm not sure if I marked it in here, but there was part in this book that I'd written where I was hugely inspired by it was a Belgian choreographer, actually, dance theatre choreographer, who is fascinated by letting live work be live and created in the moment. And I was like, oh, that's where it comes from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It keeps it interesting for you as well, because you're doing the same thing over and over again. You think, oh, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the same when I perform. For example, the song Jolene.
Yeah.
My mum always says to me, you do it slightly different every time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I love the song, but I love to just kind of keep it interesting, just switch up a bit and just see what creative kind of things you can push it to.
Oh my gosh, yeah. That's what live performance is all about, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, excuse Indy. She's barking. She thinks it's her road, so
someone's dared to walk past.
Someone's dared to walk up our road. Okay, so how do you deal with days where you feel kind of low or you've not got as much motivation?
Oh, it's a great question. I do stick to ways to look after myself. And I think that's a really basic thing, but people forget it. Like having a shower. That's ridiculous.
No, you're so right though. It's
just a little, you take a bit of time out, you recognise you're not in your right headspace and take some time out. And the practicalities of your body is an instrument, and sometimes your mood can be affected by some really basic things like being dehydrated or you know, not eating enough. So for me, looking after the body on those days when I'm feeling down, that I prioritise it a little bit more. So I have my lemon and ginger tea, and I make sure that I'm drinking. I've always got a bottle of water with me everywhere I go. And if I'm feeling really low, I reach out to friends. That's something like I'm another big supporter of pushing others to do. Is be open about your vulnerability. I mean, everybody's a unit and you look after yourself, but sometimes, do you know what, I just really need to call my mate Anna in London, and I know she's going to make me laugh in 2 seconds. Absolutely. And I'm just going to be able to go, oh, do you know what, I just feel really, really crap about whatever. And she'll hear me out and go, that's really bad, mate. And then probably tell me a joke. And then I feel like I've given it enough time, enough attention, and then I lay it to another good friend, Tess of mine, always says, and I think I stand by this, worrying is good to a point. So if you've got something going on or you're upset about something, stressing or worrying about it is good up until a point. You know, to let it out, go, oh, I'm worried about that, then stop. Anything past that is actually doing you a detriment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think some people, I call it like the drama triangle, they get addicted to that. It is an addiction, because I'm fascinated by this. I can bore you all day with it. We release a chemical in our brain, I call it the sadness, same as we do when we exercise and we get endorphins.
Yeah.
If you and I'm talking about real sadness, I can't remember the name of the hormone, but it gets released. And the body can get addicted to it really easy. So have you ever met somebody who, whenever you see them, there's always a problem? They're always moaning.
I think we all
know people like that. It's because they're addicted to this hormone. So just knowing that, I'm a big believer. If you understand the science of something, it helps you be able to get recognise it, change it.
That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's so interesting.
Snapping out of that drama triangle that's a key one.
Yeah.
And recognising you're doing that, I guess. And go, right, do you know what? And I'm really, really hypersensitive to not affecting other people around me. think the way that you behave and the way you speak, you're responsible for yourself, and if you're affecting someone else, that's not on. So yeah.
No, completely agree. I mean, I think people see me because I'm very much about the positivity and the, you know, the believing in yourself and stuff, and people go, oh, how are you always so positive? I'm like, I'm not always so positive. There's a difference between, you know, like you're saying about not affecting other people. Just because there will be times when I feel low doesn't mean I need to go out into the world and go, oh, I feel really bad. You know, I'm very much a believer of going, yes, there's these challenges, and you know, yes, there's these hard times, but instead of just going, oh, I'm so sad, actually going, right, how can I use it to help other people? How can I actually use the things that have happened to me that I struggle with to go, oh, that actually this is how I can help someone else and how they might be able to come through it. And that was really a big foundation of this podcast, Believe, because really it once you kind of get the foundation of how you feel right and what you think is possible for you, then it's much easier to one step in front of the other towards the things that you actually want. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. Please be sure to give the page a follow if you are. So I wanted to do a little segment about positive news. So I'm going to call this segment Positivity Power, and I just want to share a couple of good news stories going on that I've come across. The first one is I want to draw your attention to a new magazine that I found called Positive News. Honestly, my heart was so happy when I saw that this magazine existed. Definitely need to hear about more positive things. The next thing I thought was pretty cool is NASA released this image, and it is a picture of the sun smiling. So some really great news is a new app called Shiny Mind, and it is a mental health app created by nurses for nurses, and the tech company actually gifted it free of charge to all nurses, midwives, nursing associates and healthcare support workers across England. And it contains resources, tools and exercises to help them with their mental health. Dog therapy group Essex Therapy Dogs takes dogs into care homes, hospitals and schools to relieve stress and share joy. Dog owners are invited to pay a small membership fee and volunteer to take their dogs into these public settings. I know for a fact when I worked at a primary school how much a therapy dog really brought so much joy to everyone, children and adults alike. So this is really great news. If you'd like to read any more about these news stories, I'll link them in the description below. Back to the podcast. So my next question was just about how do you juggle things that you love with other commitments?
Oh gosh, I'd see, now that's an interesting one, because everything I do I love. So
that's great though, because that means it's been so successful crafting a life that you love.
It's taken a long time to get there. So I got my son actually, who's 21 at the moment. He's at that period of life where he's having to do things he doesn't want to do, and you know, will often be like, oh, I just want to do what you're doing. I'm like, yeah, but it's a process. It took 10 years or longer to get there. So anyway, yeah, everything I do, including my day job, they are my passions. I really love it. I guess the other thing is something I do on the side is I train dogs who've got behavioural issues.
I keep learning new things about you all the time.
So I don't advertise it. I am now, aren't I? I don't do it as a paid job anymore. I did for a while, a few years back, when I was touring actually. But I do it for the love of it. And actually, it was because of COVID. Because of COVID coming around, lots of people got dogs and didn't really know what they were doing, or ended up with a dog that had behavioural issues because of being in COVID. And I've only ever done it through people recommend me. They say, I can ask my friend, she may do this for you, and now they recommend me. Yeah, so I'm working with two dogs, two German Shepherds at the moment. But anyway, that is something I would love to do more of. I really would. And how do I juggle it? Really good question. I'll give you an example. This comes back to looking after yourself again. When I negotiate contracts with, for example, I'm working with Scratchworks at the moment, and they wanted me for 2 days work, and I committed quite a while ago, my partner's parents rehomed a dog, and his mother is a nurse and works nights, and they were struggling about how we cope with this each week. I said, I will commit to walking him every Thursday morning. I'll do that so that this dog can get this home and everything else. And I'm so glad I did that, because I have stuck to that ever since. And I know it's the thing I love. I love getting up in the morning, not rushing out the door, but getting my dogs and going for a lovely walk in all weathers. And so when I took this job with Scratchworks, I'd worked with them prior to this arrangement coming in, and they said, oh, is there anything you particularly need? I went, yeah, Thursday morning's off. I don't work Thursday mornings, you know, I start work later, I start at 11. And they, just like anybody else would be, more than fine with it. Yeah. And I think that really made me go, wow, we run around like this when actually, if you just expressed what your needs were, and Scratchworks did that in a wonderful way. They actually said, what are your access needs? Yeah. And I made the realisation, that's my access need. I need that time out, because that's something I really love. And I don't want to make money out of it, don't want any of that. That's my time out with my dogs. Yeah. And nothing should be more important than that. So how do I juggle it? I'm disciplined about it. I don't let things creep in. I don't let that time get taken away. When I've got a bit of spare time, that's the first thing I do. And it's all organisation. I block my diary out of like...
I was going to ask you about that, yeah.
Saturday morning, I'm working with this dog Apollo. He's in my diary. I'm not cancelling it.
Yeah.
It's being strict, it's being disciplined, and it's recognising the balance, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like you were saying about on the calendar, it is... The thing is it's your time. That's the time you need for yourself. It doesn't matter if you're at a meeting or whatever. That's your time. That's as important as anything else you're doing. You need to be able to block that.
Absolutely,
that
I live by that. Yeah.
And God, calendars have changed my life. Like I don't know which one you use. Which one do you use?
Just the iPhone.
Yeah.
Yeah, iPhone reminder calendar thing.
Fantastic. I mean, what I used to do before is I had something on that day, I'd put it as like an all-day thing, and that wasn't actually very helpful. No. What I do now is I actually block my day.
Yeah, I did the same.
And it actually is fantastic. And I mean, this is the organisation lover in me. I even colour code it.
Amazing.
So I go, okay, I'm doing that, and then it's quite nice actually, because I can look back over my month and see how much time I spent on different things.
Yeah,
and that's good as well, because I go, well, actually, am I spending enough time on my goals, on the things that are important to me? Yeah. Just kind of by looking at the colour coding, sort of.
God, that's brilliant. Right, doing me. That's great.
It's been brilliant.
It's really good for self-awareness, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It really is. But yeah, I do that, and that's how you can switch off as well, because that is a game changer. Putting everything in a calendar, because if someone says something to me and I'm like, right, I've got to do that thing, I put it straight in the calendar for that day at that time when I need to think about it. Yeah. Because that's what's great, is that you get to the end of your day, you're done on your chores, and you put it away and go, done. I'm not thinking about what I've got to do for the rest of the week, or having to carry a notebook. I used to do that. Yeah. And I wondered why I would get stressed out. It's because I would open a notebook and it would just be of stuff and be like, oh no. Yeah. So yeah, game changer. Yeah, organisation and calendars all the way.
Yeah. Another thing I was going to ask you actually is not one of the questions, but with the organisation. Yeah. Do you find it's quite helpful, like if you've got stuff that you're thinking about before you kind of, in the evening before you go to sleep, do you have like somewhere that you think, oh, that's really good actually, let's kind of get this out of my head now, and then...
Yeah, I mean, I used to a lot when I was writing comedy a lot, and when I was also songwriting a lot more. I'd have a book by my bed because I was kind of highly stimulated, I guess, and I was a prolific lyricist. So when you're doing it a lot, you can't, like I'm out of that habit now, so I don't need to do it now, but I couldn't sleep because I'd be like, oh, I've got this idea for this sketch, and so it would go on the notebook. Then that started to translate into voice notes. About things or ideas that I had, and I got an OTT with that, because everyone was like, voice note to self, like all the time. But I guess not so much anymore. Again, it goes in my calendar. If I think about something, it's like, right, I've got time on that day to think about that. It goes in my calendar again. So, because I just found that I got way too overly stimulated with it.
Yeah, like, it's always too much.
It can be too much. It's a place that I'm quite aware. My poor long-suffering partner at home, Seb, he describes me as someone who has high-functioning anxiety. Because I actually struggle to switch off and sit down. Yeah. The biggest achievement for us for a week is if he manages to get me to sit and watch the TV with him. And he will play games with me. He'd be like, right, where are we at? Are we ready to turn it on yet? But no. He's like, right, okay, let's do a quiz. And slowly brings me down. So I'm someone that I can't be too stimulated.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good tip to have anyway, is that we all have so much noise around us all day, every day.
24-hour culture.
Absolutely. And whether you realise it or not, I'm probably an extreme case because I'm always so busy and doing things, but it is having an impact on you. So being mindful of how you manage that is really important, I think. So yeah.
Okay, so my next question for you is, how do you silence fear of failure, kind of the fears that we have of ourselves, of worry, you know?
Yeah, I know it all too well. This is the biggest thing that everybody needs to change. I think there's a really poor culture we live in where we are made to think that failure or is a bad thing, or that fear is a bad thing. It's really, really not. How did anything in this world get created without somebody failing first?
It's very true.
It's so, I know, it sounds so simple, but you really need to reset. Because if I'm feeling afraid about something, and sadly it doesn't happen much anymore, but if I'm feeling fearful about something, I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, because it's helping with your growth.
Yeah, so it means that I'm doing something that genuinely challenges me. And how much, and that's another thing that needs changing, because so many people fall out of that. And they fall into just doing things that are safe. And therefore, these are the people who will come to you and say, oh, you sure you want to go and follow that dream of yours? Or don't you want to just do something nice and safe?
Yeah.
Because they have the fear. Well, they don't want the fear.
Yeah.
I want the fear. I think
Such a great way of looking at it. Wow.
I really need it. And I was trying to find it, but back to the book. And actually, I didn't say the title of it is State of Mind, that book that I wrote. That was one of my big lessons. Sadly, I can't find the quote, but it was a big lesson that really occurred to me at uni, was that I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail so many times, but it means I'm trying. It means I'm doing something. Yeah. And if you're worried about something, and worried for the right reasons, that's important to say, it does mean you're doing something right. Yeah. So what I always try to encourage people is change that mindset. Don't be afraid to fail. And sadly, some people just can't do it because they don't want to look like an idiot. I'm quite happy looking like an idiot. Because coming back to regret, in 20 years' time, is someone going to remember the thing I didn't do or I messed up on? Yeah. Or are they going to remember the thing I did do? And the reality is the latter. So embrace it, I say.
Absolutely. I mean, for me personally, this last kind of year or so, I've really been trying to do something regularly that pushes me outside of my comfort zone, that I feel kind of a bit fearful of. Yeah. And it could be something as silly and simple as like going a different car route. And I'm going to go a way that feels a bit more challenging to me. Or something kind of bigger, actually, this podcast. And I've been sitting on this for, oh gosh, at least a year. And in my head I was thinking, oh, it's got to be just right. And then I was thinking about all the setup with the cameras and stuff. And I mean, you'll see from the setup, well, I mean, you won't watching, but Marina, you'll see I've got my iPhones and I've got some lights from Amazon.
But you're doing it, and it looks great.
And I just thought, I've just got to start, and it actually doesn't matter if things aren't perfect, because actually there is no such thing, because everyone's version of that is different, you know, and it's actually more important to just start, and then you get real-time feedback of what works and what doesn't.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then just being able to...
If I can add in a little story as well.
Yeah, please.
Coming back to fear, and I really like what you said there, is you've got to go on and you've got to do it. One of my big fears was singing. Believe it or not, though I trained in it and I went to a stage school, I found it terrifying, singing in front of people. So I got to a point in my life where I thought, well, I need to do something about that. And then I joined a band.
That's brilliant.
Which led to this. This is the other thing I brought along today. These are all my original lyrics. I was in a fantastic band, a big band for a few years, which did amazing things. Which I didn't attempt to that, but I knew I needed something that scared me. I needed to face what that fear was, because I had to explore it. Yeah. And then from doing that, where it can take you. So I look forward to seeing where this video podcast takes you, because it could be the start of something else.
I hope so. I just thought it was a good idea, and if it can help one other person kind of go, I need to believe in myself and just put one foot in front of the other and go towards my dreams, then that would be a win, I think. So we were chatting earlier about obviously the importance of music. Music's very important to both of us.
Yeah.
And you were sharing with me before about your incredible song that you'd written, which the lyrics look amazing. I'm going to go and look it up as well. But you were telling me a really great journey about that story.
So this is a song that the creation of it and everything with it, it literally, it was another turning point. It really changed my life. The song is called Upside Down, and I'm just going to show you this. I'm quite a sentimental old fool, and I like to keep whatever I work on, I keep the original sort of printout of how, you see that nice coffee stain on it back where I drank coffee, and all the notes of how it started to come together and be shaped. So that song, Upside Down, it was written about a really dark time in my life, a really tough time. I'd gone through a relationship breakup, certainly a point where I couldn't choose joy. And I think I was depressed, is the honest truth of it. I think I just hit rock bottom. And I'm not proud of it, but this, what this song really is about is a snapshot in my life where it was, I'd got so down that I'd started to drink in the evenings. Not a lot, because I was still functioning, I had a lot of stuff to do, but it was a way to quiet my mind, was to, sadly drink. And one particular evening I was throwing up, because I wasn't a very good drinker and I'd lost a lot of weight, and you know, I was throwing up in my toilet, and then I found myself asleep on the floor next to the toilet, and then thought, oh, what is that in my hair? I had really long hair at the time, and I sat up and was like, what is it? And realised it was the toilet brush stuck in my hair. At which point I just burst out laughing. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm sat here in my pants, I've puked everywhere, and there's a toilet brush in my hair. And I laughed, and that was the first time I'd laughed in months. And I think that's what's so powerful about it, that song for me, is that in that moment I went, well, it can't get any worse. It can only get better from here. And it did, and because I managed to find that light from something so dark. And so this song is written about that point in my period in my life where the world was upside down. And I went on, we wrote this song very quickly when I joined this band, and it went on to be an unbelievable overnight success. We recorded just a simple demo of it, it went out. Within a few days, we were booked to play the O2 Academy in London, within 8 months, and we toured with people like the Magic Band. It got picked up by Roger O'Donnell from The Cure, who asked to play synth on it, which he does the synth on it, so if you hear it. He then travelled down to Exeter to watch us and to film us, just playing a little intimate gig of the song. And it was, I mean, and I should explain actually, I said it to you, but I've left it out, and it is important because it makes people think, well, how in the world did Roger O'Donnell do that? Or get in touch with you. One of my band members had been in a big band himself in the 90s. So, you know, it's not as simple as you put a song out and, oh, these wonderful things happen. It is down to, you know, there'd been he had a connection there. But I couldn't be prouder that he heard it and went, this song is so good. I want to be a part of it.
You should be so proud. I'm like, that's amazing.
Just insane is what it is. Absolutely insane. And to have him come down and film it, and but the other thing to say about it is that, you know, I don't think I hadn't really advertised this before, what was behind that song. This was many years ago it was written, and back then it was, people don't really talk about these things. I think it's important to share that, and I had to go on and tour this and sing it again and again and again. And for anybody who writes music, you know, particularly something that's very personal to you, take something out of you. If you're going to do a genuine, honest, truthful performance, you have to relive that moment. So I'd be singing this song in the early days going, oh no, I have to go back to that headspace. But it changed. It became my therapy, that song. And I think 8 months into touring it, it changed the meaning for me. And made me realise, yeah, the world is upside down, but that's just, you've got to roll with it. So yeah, it was a big part of my life, that song.
Thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. And it also shows how quickly things can transform.
Yeah.
You know, from having a toilet brush in your hair to Roger O'Donnell wanting to play something in your song and touring. You know, it really shows how quick things can change if you let it. Yeah. And I think adding to that, the other important thing is recognising you are on a journey.
Yes.
And that's one thing that's been really key for me recently. And I mean, since going self-employed, there's up and down days, and you know, it can be a bit all over the place. But it's the thing that changes my mindset, and that's changed everything. Instead of just feeling, oh, well, things won't get better and I'm useless and all this, actually going, actually I'm on a journey, and I'm bloody proud of myself actually, because I've been taking one step in front of the other, and actually I can see all the things, and actually the things I've learned from it, and even if that thing is, well, that's not something that I want to do, or you know, everything is a learning experience, and I think you've got to view it like that.
I'm so incredibly proud of you. So Hannah, when I first met her, I remember one of your questions to me was, at what point am I too old and I should give up? Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
And a lot of people, you know, young artists would say that to me. Even I had that mentality in my head of like, you've either got to make it and, you know, be in the top 10 or something. And if you haven't made it by the time you're 22, then it's over. And it so isn't. So isn't. And I remember sort of telling you that at the time, being like, no, it's a journey, and you will become a better artist the more time you give yourself. And there is never a time when you're too old to do it. And look at where you are now. It blows my mind, all the things that you get up to, and how I can just see you growing as a person and giving back to other people whilst you do it. Just amazing. Hats off to you.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Marina.
It's all right, mate. I mean it. Every word of it.
Oh, you can make me cry when I was. So, obviously you've been a huge inspiration for me going self-employed, and you've always encouraged me to go after things that I'm interested in. Cat raising.
I'm very happy about this.
So, if there's someone at home that's maybe in a place maybe I was 5 years ago, where they've got this big dream, that they feel very low on confidence, they're not really believing in themselves, maybe they're surrounded by people that don't, you know, aren't the most supportive, what would be the biggest piece of advice you'd have for them?
I think really important to recognise that for some people, situation can prevent you as well. So it's not one blanket answer for everybody. I mean, I very much pushed and encouraged you, but I knew I could. But for example, when I started doing this, I was a single mum. You know, money was really, I couldn't just go completely self-employed because I couldn't take that risk as a parent. So I started small. I guess that's what I'm coming around to saying as advice. Start small. I did it on the side. I kept a normal job, so I had a wage coming in, and I followed that model for years. Actually, I've returned to it now. And that actually does help with your mindset. You know, you're not constantly worrying about things, but you've got to just let go and take the jump. I had a friend have this conversation with me. She'd run her own business for years. When I was first thinking about doing it, I was just like, how? And she was like, there's just no easy answer other than you've got to give it a go. And all she kept saying to me was, the minute you do it, you will regret you didn't do it sooner. Yeah. You are honestly going to look back and go, what was I worrying about? And I think through her reassurance, it gave me the push I needed to go, all right, I'm gonna do it. So I think you've got to have positive people around you who are gonna, you know, help you not get too engulfed in the fear. Again, recognise the fear is a good thing. Back to what we were saying earlier, if you're feeling that fear, switch it and use it. It's a good thing. It means you're meant to be doing this. You're feeling challenged. And yeah, just start small. It doesn't have to be overnight that you quit your day job and, you know, wonder what am I going to do for food and rent the next day. It can be on the side. You know, I started very small with a weekend freelance job, which then slowly, bit by bit, took over having to have employed work all the time. And freedom. Oh yeah. Oh, you can't put price on that. No. Like, we at the start of this interview, you asked, we were having a conversation about how do you balance doing things that you're passionate about and things you love doing? And I went, I love what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now that is entirely from the freedom of self-employment, because I can pick what I want to work on, who I want to work with. Like, there's no greater feeling than that.
So getting clear on your why as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And adding as well to positive people, I think we were saying a bit as well, is like recognising the people kind of around you who are more encouraging. So it's not saying, you know, get rid of people in your life that, you know, don't kind of support that, but it is about kind of going, maybe these particular things I don't talk to about those kind of those people that aren't as encouraging, but oh, there's that person at an open mic, or there's that person at this class, or, you know, there's someone there that they're like, oh wow, that's brilliant, like tell me more. Talk to those kind of people. There's so much, use the internet, there's so much amazing stuff online now. On YouTube, I mean, there's a channel, Evan Carmichael, he has a lot of stuff from different people in various fields, and lots of encouragement. Coaches like Mel Robbins, she's brilliant. There's so many people like around, and they don't necessarily have to be in person. It's just kind of, I think you need to choose what information you like to allow in.
Absolutely, yeah. It's making sure you're choosing wisely who you put around you, who you listen to, and their aim for it to be positive.
Absolutely. There's a really great quote I like from Tony Robbins, and his quote was stand guard at the door of your mind.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's exactly everything we're saying is exactly that. That's the first thing you can do for yourself, is look after yourself, is protect yourself, actually. From what could potentially be negative things and people around you. Yeah, I like that.
I think it's, I don't think we recorded when we were saying it, but I think it's recognising the people that might not be supportive. It's not they're trying to hate, it's just it might be their own fear.
Yes.
And it's not that they don't believe in you, but it could be for them personally they didn't feel like they could go out and do what they wanted to do. So for them it's coming from a place of love, of they're wanting to protect you. But it's about knowing, well, actually this is what I want to do with my life, and I appreciate the concern, I love you, but this is what's right for me. You know, I've got to follow what I want to do.
Yeah, which takes a lot of strength of mind.
It does.
Certainly not an easy thing to do, but yeah, I think that helps it, is if you recognise it's normally that person's issue, not yours. Of why they might be going, oh no, don't do that.
Yeah. Yes. So my question for you is have you got a challenge you could share with the listeners, and how you overcame it?
Yeah, sure thing. I'd say one of the biggest challenges of my career was being a woman working in comedy. Hot topic now, but it wasn't much discussed back then. It was really hard work. You were immediately discriminated against. You immediately didn't get the same opportunities as men. And to add to that, just to make it even easier, we were doing sketch comedy, which is, you know, like French and Saunders, that sort of thing. And we're very much, comedy, like every other industry, has been commercialised. So stand-up comedy is sort of the tonic everybody wants and is used to, because it's quick, it's easy, it makes money, and people don't really want to think anymore. Not everybody, I'm generalising, but so that was particularly tough. And the way I overcame it, I think personally my own choice was, I'm never going to write about being a woman. I don't need to. I think it's something we actually got pulled up a lot from a few reviewers, actually, is why aren't they're two women, why aren't they writing material, you know, jokes about being a woman and the experience of a woman? And I think that quite annoyed me, because personally for me, I don't see why that needs to be pointed out. I like being a person. I'm a person, and I can relate to every other person if I talk about it in that way. So we overcame that by the counterbalance being, well, we're never going to make it a thing about being women. And we actually really pushed the things that bring everybody together, that we can all resonate with in our comedy, and kept it clean as well. We never needed to be crass. You know, we had sketches about moths flying around the light that everybody can relate to, and that was my answer to that challenge, I guess, was to go, it's already hard enough.
Yeah.
I personally don't want to make that work anyway. But we probably could have had an easier time if we did do that sort of thing. We would have maybe had a bit more support. People would have been a bit more worried about discriminating against us. We chose not to. We chose to go, no, I think we'd rather reach more people than not. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Oh, she's very keen to try and knock over the light box. We're saying that, I don't even know if people can actually see or not. It says believe on it. So there's been so many amazing things you've done, from plays to sketches, products, events. So it's gonna be very tricky, because I'm sure you've had a lot of fun.
Okay.
But what do you think is the most fun you've had creating anything?
Oh, that is hard. That is hard. I think. Do you know what? I think it's the writing in the early start. Like, so some of the comedy shows. So ones that I wrote with Tess. We had a fantastic one called The Good Stuff. Just pulling out a flyer of it. That was a great show to work on and put together. I absolutely loved that. We took it up to Edinburgh, and actually doing the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, I would say, one of the most amazing experiences. And being at that point in our careers where we knew each other inside out, we knew exactly what type of work we wanted to make, and we could really enjoy the process at that point. And you know, a lot of it started just sat at my kitchen table, writing and coming up with an idea. And if it made us laugh, I think the joy of creating work like that is you're finding the funny every day. I mean, you can never have a bad day if you're waking up to make jokes with each other and mess around. Like, it was, I would say that's probably one of my highlights, was writing comedy shows and going to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and experiencing that world. Because go, if you haven't been, go, get yourself there. It is incredible.
You've got amazing, you would have seen a bit of the pictures, but the designs you've got there for the flyers are fantastic. Because Marina was showing me a while back some of the designs she'd done, because I was asking, wasn't I, for my own stuff, kind of how I should design different promo things. So you bought these things along.
So I guess it's more it's eye-catching stuff. So all of this, anything you put out, it has to have the same thought that goes into it as anything else. It's your look and your image and setting up, what you would call it, for the set up a photo. We talked a lot about. And that doesn't have to be a drag. Like, I know that the admin is boring, but if you make it part of your process, it's not. And most importantly, people won't ignore it then. I sadly didn't bring it, but I think one of the most successful photos I've ever done was for a comedy show. But it's me and Tess standing in the sea with waves crashing, holding ironing boards in wetsuits.
That was great. I remember. That was brilliant.
And that picture, I mean, it was just so unbelievably successful. I think I like it because it tricks you as well. You think we're holding a surfboard until you think, something's wrong about it. And you look again, you're like, oh my God, it's ironing boards. And it did us such great success. I think I told you when we were sort of having a chat about how important this sort of stuff is. We had venues covering the cost themselves to print it because they loved it. That's brilliant. Like Beautiful Days, I'll never forget. That was a career highlight, but playing there.
Great festival.
But they printed off like an 8-foot poster of that image of the and it was right by the entrance. I remember you saying that's so good. It was like, that is cool. And that's because we made the effort and put the thought into the poster. And
absolutely brilliant. You've had so much fun, honestly, it's great. So I thought we could play a little game now.
Okay.
It's just something a little bit silly I've come up with. I've some this or that quick fire questions at you.
Okay.
They don't mean anything, it's just, I thought
I love a game, I do.
Alright. So quick as you can, okay?
Okay.
Indoors or outdoors?
Outdoors.
Book or film?
Book.
Tea or coffee?
Oh, neither. Tea. I'll say tea.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Documentary or fictional drama?
Documentary.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Heels or flats?
Flats.
Phone call or text?
Oh.
But you're more of a voice memo.
Yeah, I'm a voice memo. Somewhere in between with that one.
City or countryside?
City.
Summer or winter?
Summer.
Takeaway or restaurant?
Takeaway.
Nice, love it.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you.
That's a little insight into my mind.
just like, right, quick fire
Yeah.
things, yeah. So what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, best piece of advice I've ever received. Actually, it was something we were talking about earlier. My old comedy partner, Tess, good friend of mine as well, we were talking about worry. And we were saying some people can get carried away with, if they're in a stressful situation or something is upsetting them, they're worried about it, with fixating on it. And, you know, I think we've all met that person who is constantly going on about the same thing. And the best piece of advice Tess gave to me once was, there's value in worrying to a point. Up to a point, you know, you need to rant it out with your friend, or something's happened today and I need to talk about this. Anything past that point actually starts to become detriment. It starts to impact you and everybody else. And I really like the way she phrased that, of like, worrying is good up until a point, and then you got to stop, and then you got to either solve it, move on, or recognise that, you know, you can't keep on with the moaning.
Absolutely.
And that really did make me go, okay. Because I think as human beings, we can unfortunately encourage each other into what I call the drama triangle, because we get addicted to literally the hormone that goes out when we feel sad. And as human beings, we can be terrible at encouraging each other to, everyone likes a bit of gossip, or, oh yeah, you know, stirring and things like that. Yeah. When no one's having a good time out of that, really. Like, so I'd go with that. It really made me go, oh yeah, actually.
That's a great piece of advice.
Wasting my time going moaning or worrying about this thing.
Yeah. Adding on that, there was, I don't know if you're into like Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah. So Newt Scamander from the Fantastic Beasts thing, a quote that's assigned to him is, worrying means you suffer twice.
Oh, see, that's perfect.
That's always stuck out to me, because I will freely admit most of my childhood and teens, and it's really probably only recently I've got better at it, chronic worrier.
Yeah.
Worry all day long, and then I wouldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm just like, right, well, either I need to let it go, or I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, and I normally find that it only just takes starting working on it.
Yeah.
And that actually is enough to make the worry go away. You don't have to solve the whole worry, but just taking steps towards it.
Just a tiny step towards it, and I really resonate with that.
Yeah. Oh, great. Okay. What do you think is the key to happiness?
Choosing joy.
Choosing joy. I love that. I'm really going to take that away. Choosing joy.
But it's also being really careful about who you put around you. I can't stress that enough. There's a great film, it's a true story, and I forget the name of it, but it's about a young man who goes travelling on his own, into the wilderness, into the wild. And there you go, it's called that. And right at the end of the film, he takes himself way out of civilization. He thinks it's going to make him happy. And right at the end, sadly, he spoiler alert, he dies. But his last message he writes is, I've realised happiness is only real when shared.
Yeah. And
it's so true. So happiness really comes from moments we experience with other beings. It's why I love animals, because they're the purest form of other being around you. The love and they're the way that they are good for your well-being as well. But really be careful about who you put around you, who you get involved with in your personal relationships, your friends. It is so easy to fall in with people that aren't good for you, and who you're not good for them either. And never ever settle. And I know that's hard. I've made my mistakes. I've certainly dated a few rotters in the past. But the key thing is that I didn't stay in it. You know, I went, I'm not happy. And I'm not happy to settle.
Exactly.
So, and the same with friends. That's the same with friends. Is, you know, if they are giving out, if they're not bringing joy into your life, then you have to move on. It's not good for you.
I think that, adding on that, it's knowing that you are worthy, you're deserving of your best life.
Yes.
You know, and that's everyone. You know, everyone deserves to live a life that's true to them, that they love, being surrounded by people that uplift them. Yeah. You know, it's really important. Yeah. Right. Okay. So, could you tell us your favourite quote?
Oh yes, definitely. So this quote, it was delivered in a interview by my absolute comedy hero, Billy Connolly, who I grew up watching as a kid. To which he turned around to, I think, Michael Parkinson, who was interviewing him, and said, don't vote for politicians. It only encourages them. And I really love that. I love the mentality behind it. And obviously, I'm not getting into a politics chat, but it's just the pure simplicity of it. I love Billy Connolly. Yeah.
Thank you, Marina. Where can people find you online?
Pretty much everywhere. You Google me, Google my name, you'll find me on the old Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, give me a shout if you've got any questions or you need help. I'm all about supporting other fellow local artists who might need advice. So you're more than welcome to get in touch, and I will do my best to help you.
Thank you. So again, Marina O'Shea, and the Exeter Carnival's coming up.
Yes, it is.
Where can people follow Exeter Carnival online?
If you Google again, just Google Exeter Carnival. We've got a website, Facebook, Instagram, all it's called all the same handle, Exeter Carnival, and you can find out all the information about what's going on. But it's going to be a fantastic event, I hope, for the city.
It's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll keep coming back each year.
On the 26th of November.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's
My
been
pleasure.
Amazing to have you here and just sharing all your wisdom, and I've learned so much more about you as well, like all the incredible things you've done. Can't wait to read your book and to listen to your song Upside Down online.
Yeah,
I'm going to go and listen to that.
Yeah.
Listen out for the synth as well.
Yeah.
We should write a song together one day.
Oh my God, you heard it here. That's going to happen now.
I'd love to do that.
I would love to do that. Yeah.
We should do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us. Again, I'm Hannah Ruby, joined by the lovely Marina O'Shea. You've listened to the first episode of the Believe podcast.
Yeah.
Yay! And yeah, we'll see you again next time.
See you later.
Bye! I want to thank you so much for joining us on this very first episode of Believe. I hope you enjoyed it. Please be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed. If you would like to have early access to the Believe podcast, as well as other early access to all things Hannah Ruby, I have just set up a Patreon page where it has loads of exclusive behind the scene things about my music journey and being self-employed. So go and check that out if you're interested. I'll link it below in the description. Have a lovely day, Rubies. I'll see you later. Bye.